If you've ever been on either side of remote learning, as a teacher or a student, you know that feeling. You're trying so hard to capture that magic, that spark of a real classroom, but through a screen, it just feels like something's missing. Well, today we're going to look at a tool that's designed to fix that exact problem. So that's the big question, right? How do we get past those one-way lectures and build a virtual space that actually feels alive and, well, connected? It's a huge pain point for so many educators, and it's exactly what we're digging into today. Think about it. A physical classroom has this energy. There are spontaneous questions, little groups collaborating, ideas bouncing all over the place. But way too often, the virtual classroom just becomes this series of static slides where students are just kind of there, passively listening. That's the divide we're talking about crossing. Okay, so what's the bridge? The answer we're exploring is the online whiteboard. It's a tool built from the ground up to bring that missing dynamic back into the picture and close that gap in digital education. Now, don't just think of this as some fancy digital screen. It's so much more. It's like a shared collaborative canvas, a digital space where everyone can jump in at the same time, turning what could be a boring lecture into a really active, engaging conversation.
And the results of that? They're pretty huge. For starters, it flips the switch from passive listening to active doing. But it also means every single sketch, every note gets saved. It becomes this living document of the lesson. Plus, you can throw in videos and images, so it works for all kinds of different learners.
All right, so let's pop the hood and take a look at the anatomy of a really great online whiteboard. What are the core features that make this thing such an effective tool for teaching? First up, and honestly, this is the absolute game changer, real-time collaboration. This is what it's all about. It means students can all be adding notes, highlighting text, and drawing connections at the very same time. It just completely changes the energy of the lesson.
And of course, you've got your whole creative toolkit. We're talking digital pens, highlighters, shapes, all the stuff you need to explain ideas visually. You can sketch out a quick flowchart, circle a keyword in a piece of text. It just makes everything clearer.
Now this feature is just wild. The infinite canvas. You literally never run out of space. You can just keep zooming out and adding more. It's perfect for those huge brainstorming sessions or really complex problems where you just need room for your ideas to breathe and expand.
But hey, we all know learning isn't just about text and drawings, right? That's why strong multimedia support is a must. Being able to just drag and drop a PDF, a chart, or even a short video clip right onto the board keeps the lesson fresh and puts all your resources in one place.
And here's a huge time saver for any teacher. You don't have to start from a blank slate every single time. A lot of these platforms have built-in templates for things like mind maps, Venn diagrams, or lesson plans. It gives you instant structure and saves you a ton of prep time. Finally, let's talk about keeping things organized. Classroom management. The best tools give you control. You can decide who gets to see a board, you can give private feedback to a student, or you can create separate little workspaces for group activities. It helps keep everything personalized and running smoothly. Okay, so we've covered all the features, the what it is. Now for the fun part. Let's talk about the what you can do with it. How do you actually take these tools and bring a lesson to life?
This is the million-dollar question for every educator, isn't it? It's not just about having a cool tool, it's about knowing how to use it. So let's run through a few concrete ideas you could literally try in your very next class.
So for a literature or social studies class, picture this. You start with a central question on the board. Then your students all jump in, adding their own ideas on little digital sticky notes. Together, you start dragging them around, drawing lines, and building this incredible visual mind map. Everyone sees the connections forming right before their eyes. And for all you math and science folks out there, this is just incredible. Imagine students working through a tough equation together, step by step, right on the canvas. Or maybe they're drawing molecular structures, or mapping out a biological process. It makes these really abstract concepts feel so much more concrete.
You can also totally transform your presentations. We've all sat through those static, click-through-the-slideshow lectures, right? Well, instead, you can embed a short video or a quick poll right on the canvas. Then you can have your students respond or even annotate on the board in real time. It turns a presentation into a workshop.
What about group projects? This is where it really shines. You can give each little team their own private board to work on.
Then, when it's time to present, they can share their board with the class, and other students can offer feedback by adding comments and notes directly on their work.
So, with all these amazing possibilities, the last piece of the puzzle is picking the right tool for you. Because an online whiteboard is definitely not a one-size-fits-all kind of thing. It's got to fit your classroom and your style.
And to figure that out, you just need to ask yourself a few simple questions. First, what's your budget? Second, what are your must-have features? Third, does it play nicely with the other tools you're already using? And, maybe most important of all, does it actually fit your teaching style? Your answers are going to point you in the right direction.
You know, one of the sources for this really summed it up perfectly with this quote. The future of remote education is undoubtedly visual. And that just hits the nail on the head, right? It captures this big shift we're seeing towards learning that's more interactive and, well, visual.
So the big takeaway here is that these tools aren't just some temporary fix, They really do represent a fundamental change in how we share knowledge and work together in this digital age. It doesn't matter if we're in the same room or on opposite sides of the world.
Which really leaves us with this one big question to chew on. As we look to the future, are we moving to a world where education is built on a shared, collaborative, and infinite canvas? Well, from what we've seen today, it sure looks like we're already starting to sketch it out.